Most woodworkers think expensive mistakes happen because of expensive tools. But that's usually not true. The mistakes that cost the most money are often the ones that seem harmless. A rushed cut. A skipped step. A small measurement error. The problem is that these mistakes don't just waste materials. They waste time. And in woodworking, time is often more expensive than wood. Today, we're looking at 7 woodworking mistakes that secretly cost you money. Some of them cost a few dollars at a time. Others can ruin entire projects. And the final mistake is one that almost every woodworker has made at least once. Let's get started. The first mistake is buying tools before developing skills. Now don't get me wrong. Good tools matter. But many woodworkers fall into the trap of believing the next tool will solve all their problems. A better saw. A better router. A better sander. A better drill. And before they know it, they've spent hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Meanwhile, the real problem wasn't the tool. It was technique. I've seen incredible furniture built with basic equipment. And I've seen expensive workshops produce poor results. The truth is that tools should solve specific problems, not compensate for missing skills. Before buying a new tool, ask yourself one question. Will this tool actually improve my workflow? Or am I hoping it will magically improve my woodworking? That single question can save a lot of money. The second mistake is ignoring lumber quality. This one catches beginners all the time. A board looks straight at first glance. The price looks attractive. Everything seems fine. Then you get it into the workshop. And suddenly you discover twist, warp, cup, or hidden defects. Now you're spending extra time trying to fix problems that should have been avoided at the lumberyard. Sometimes the cheapest board becomes the most expensive board. Because you're paying for it twice. Once with money. And again with time. Experienced woodworkers know how to inspect lumber before purchasing. And that habit saves them money on nearly every project. The third mistake is skipping test cuts. This seems like a tiny thing. But it can become incredibly expensive. Let's say you're cutting expensive hardwood. You carefully measure everything. You double-check your numbers. And then you make the cut. Only to discover the setup was slightly off. Maybe the fence moved. Maybe the blade wasn't exactly where you thought it was. Maybe your measurement was wrong. Now the board is ruined. And so is your budget. A simple test cut on scrap wood takes seconds. But it can prevent costly mistakes that take hours to recover from. Professionals do this constantly. Not because they lack confidence. Because they understand that mistakes are expensive. The fourth mistake is using dull blades and bits. This one is sneaky. Because dull tools still work. At least for a while. But they force you to work harder. They increase tear out. They create rougher cuts. And they often ruin material that would otherwise be perfectly usable. Many woodworkers keep using blades long after performance starts declining. Not because they're cheap. Because the decline happens gradually. You don't notice it immediately. Until one day you realize your cuts look terrible. And you've wasted several boards trying to figure out why. Replacing a blade can feel expensive. Ruining project materials is usually far more expensive. The fifth mistake might be the most common one so far. Rushing sanding. Nobody enjoys sanding. Everyone wants to get to the exciting part. Assembly. Finishing. Seeing the project come together. But rushing sanding often creates problems that appear later. Visible scratches. Uneven finish. Poor stain absorption. And once finish is applied, fixing those mistakes becomes much harder. Sometimes impossible without starting over. A few extra minutes spent sanding properly can save hours of frustration later. And what happened with the next mistake once cost me an entire project.